Hellraiser 2022 might just be one of my most anticipated movies now after this trailer, and I'm excited for this. So let's get right into it. So what is up? So yesterday we did get the Hellraiser 2022. Well, actually, by the time I'm recording this and you're watching this, 2 days ago, we got the Hellraiser 2022 Hulu version, and I'm ecstatic for this. I was ecstatic when I first heard this was going to get done, and then once we heard more about the project, we heard Jamie Clayton was going to play Pinhead. I was even more into this movie, and now after witnessing this trailer, I'm all there for it. So I was going to make a video when this first came out, but I was going through like a stomach bug and all of this, so I wasn't really at 100%. I'm at 100% now and I'm ready to talk about it. So let's get right into it. But before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit this notification bell up here. And let's get right into the trailer for Hellraiser 2022 starring Jamie Clayton, which will come to Hulu October 7th. And this trailer was amazing, like amazing. That's all I got when I first watched it. I rewatched it a couple more times and I was just blown away by it. The way it looks, the way the sound of Pinhead is as well, the sort of characters that we're seeing in here, it's just all perfect and what I would want from a Hellraiser movie. Bar none, this is going to be one of the best remakes that they've done. Well, they're not wanting to call it a remake either or a reboot. They're saying it just takes place in the universe, so I shouldn't say that, right? But I'm pretty sure that Hulu's been such on a hot streak with these things. Like, they did an amazing job with Prey, and I know they're going to do an amazing job with Hellraiser. So let's talk about the trailer itself, where we see the lament configuration and its different configurations be sort of told by this rich guy who we've already read about and we talked about in our separate video we did, talking about some of the details we heard about Hellraiser when we first got those images as well. This guy is obsessed with the lament configuration, and he is like a 1%er, so you know he's got that money. That's pretty much how the actor describes his character, is somebody who has all of this money and is still obsessed with this thing, is going to go to extreme lengths to get it solved. And of course we know he is not going to solve it himself because he gets other people to do so, and we see that in the trailer itself. Now we see there are different configurations to it that give you different sort of outcomes. We see one for love, we see one for resurrection, which is where it's at right now, and of course we see one for Leviathan. And you know Leviathan is pretty much like the main sort of like ruler of sorts, where the cenobites are in that maze and all of that. So that's definitely something I did enjoy that the trailer did as well, is it sort of encompasses all of the lore that we've seen throughout the past 10 movies that Hellraiser has had. And yes, 10 movies. That's insane, right? So I've only watched the first two. I've watched some of the third one. After that, I blanked out, but I do keep up with the lore and everything. Like, I've watched recap videos of it as well throughout the years, so I know where we pretty much are with the lore as well. But it is definitely insane to know that this franchise has gone on for that long and still continues to do so. So I'm excited to see this movie sort of try to encompass all of that into one. We'll see how it does. So we actually do also meet one of our main protagonists here, who is a sort of recovering addict that pretty much gets a run-in with the box as well. So we also see the cenobites here. We're going to get some new ones, as they have pointed out as well. One of the ones that we see, we already know the name of. A new one is the Mask, and this one looks really creepy. It's going to be interesting to see what their backstory is. As a fan of the Hellraiser movies, it was always interesting to go back and look at how these like cenobites were used to be humans turned into the cenobites they were. So it usually goes hand in hand to who they are. So I'm curious to see what made the cenobite of the Mask be the way they are as well. We also do see an OG Cenobite here with the Chatterer. And an interesting thing to note with this Hellraiser movie is, where is the leather? I don't know how I feel about no leather, but I feel like that was definitely something that was so ingrained in our brains to see with the Cenobites in the previous Hellraiser movies. Like, that was always a thing, right? All of the leather, black, all of that. We'll see what the end result is, and maybe there's an explanation towards the end for it all, but I'm just curious where it all went. Now, we do finally get our reveal of Pinhead, who is being played by Jamie Clayton. Before we get into that as well, I do want to go ahead and say that Movie Palette, yes, we're turning into a sponsor segment here. We got to keep the lights on, y'all. What can I say? But Movie Palette was so gracious enough to reach out. We did an unboxing for this one right here. This is actually Each like segment on here is a frame from the movie Blade Runner 2049, which is one of my favorite movies, and the art at the end just is beautiful to see. I mean, you can tell where that desert scene is, right? So Movie Palette was so graciously to send this, and they also gave us a discount code you can use if you want your own Movie Palette, which is Elixir 15 to get 15% off. I'll leave the links down below if you want to go check that out. But really appreciate them for doing that, and yeah, it keeps the lights on. So if you do go get your Movie Palette, make sure you use Elixir 15. Let's get back into Hellraiser, which I was just talking about Pinhead, which for me was the most anticipated part of the whole trailer. I was like, where's Pinhead? Where's Pinhead? We see a little bit of them here and there, and then we finally get them at the end as they pretty much are speaking, and that voice was something I was so hoping they would get right, and they nailed it in my opinion. Doug Bradley will always be a legend for playing Pinhead, and the voice will always be legendary, but I think Jamie Clayton's voice is just as good, and very much so on the level of Doug Bradley's. I'm excited for this reboot, remake, whatever they want to call it, a sort of like new retelling maybe. Clive Barker's on board and he loved it. Doug Bradley loved it. So this definitely sounds like it has the potential to be good. And Hulu's just been on a hot streak, like I said, with the Prey movie and now this one. Give them all of the 80s franchises and let's see what they do. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. What do you think about the trailer? Are you excited or not? As I said, I'm curious to see where we go from here. But pretty much I'm curious to see what this rich guy really wants to do with the lament configuration. And it looks like he is sort of sacrificing these people, and it gives you vibes of other Hellraiser movies where we've seen other wealthier, powerful individuals do this as well, where they see other people lower to them and will use them as pawns in order for them to finally get the wish or whatever it is that they're seeking. And I'm curious also how the addict here gets the box as well and what's going on. I mean, we see somebody chained up as well, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens. And we see, I think, little segments of the maze as well as Leviathan, which are very synonymous in the other Hellraiser movies. So I feel like it's going to be a blend of Hellraiser 1 and 2, where we have this sort of character who is trying to get something out of the box, maybe a resurrection of sorts, but we also have them going to the other world with the maze, and we'll probably see Leviathan as well. So I definitely see that combination of Hellraiser 1 and 2, where because Hellraiser 2 also took place in this other world maze as well with Leviathan, so I could definitely see that happening in this movie. And I think that'd be a great way to just merge both of these movies together and sort of give you something new with the elements and skeletons of both. We'll see what happens though. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on what you're expecting. We'll talk more about the movie as we get more details, but as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers. We got to get there this week. That is our goal. Next week we will be going out to Fantastic Fest, so we'll be covering some stuff for you then. I'm very excited for doing some vlogs out there as well as some shorts and TikToks as well. We're trying to get back on our TikTok game, so make sure you follow us on TikTok at Culture Elixir as well as on Twitter for more updates on what we're doing. And don't forget you can get your own movie palette as well. I'll leave the link down below, as well as use code Elixir15 so we can keep the lights on here. And I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.